Welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where, as you can see by the title, I'm making potato bread today. I just did a tips recipe on how to properly cook root vegetables. So if you want to see that, I'll attach it to this video down below the description, along with a video of how to get your KitchenAid mixer attachments to the bottom of your bowl. I'll attach that tip as well. And let's just go right into what you're going to need to make this incredible bread. So delicious, soft, yummy. It's a fabulous bread. It'll go like that. This makes 2 loaves. Come on in and see the ingredients. I have 1.5 pounds of russet potatoes. If you're in the UK, those are called jacket potatoes. A baking potato, a King Edward, I guess is what you have. So these have been peeled and sliced about 1 centimeter thick, boiled. That's 675 grams. I have 4 ounces of reserved potato water. So the water that you boil the potatoes, and you can see there's some remnants of potatoes at the bottom of that. Keep that. I have 1 tablespoon of instant yeast. If you were using active dry yeast, all that you want to do is put this into your water when this water comes down to a temperature that's still warm but not boiling hot. 2 teaspoons of salt. And I'm putting that into my dry ingredients. So there goes the salt. There goes the tablespoon of yeast. And this is 4 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. That's 510 grams. If you like to scoop your flour instead of weighing your flour, what I recommend you do is get a scoop or a spoon, whatever you're using, and fluff this. Just start working it and you'll feel it lighten up. When you feel that this lightens, that's when you spoon this into your measuring cups. And that will give you approximately 120 grams per cup, which is what you need when you weigh your flour out. 1 cup is 120 grams. This is not liquor. It looks like a liquor bottle. This is an extra virgin olive oil. It's a beautiful Spanish olive oil. And I'm using 2 tablespoons of that. I put this right into the water. That's 1 tablespoon. That's exactly 2. That'll be fine. It smells good already. While the potatoes are cooling and the water's cooling, let me show you how to set up the oven. If you're using a pizza stone, you want to start now, because once your oven comes up to temp, you want that pizza stone to soak in all of that heat for at least an hour before you bake on it. If you have a baking steel, I'm jealous. I would love to have one. If you have a baking steel, then you don't have to do that, of course. That'll heat up much quicker than my stone. But let me show you how I set everything up. This is how the oven is set up. I took all of my racks out. This is in the lower third. Here's my pizza stone, which measures 16.5 inches in length. So you just want to keep that in mind, because if you're doing a baguette style or a batard, you don't want the nose of your bread hanging over the edge. That wouldn't be a very good look. So I'm going to start this now. The temp on this is convection bake. I'm going 375. If you have convection, use it. If not, that's fine. Another thing I forgot to mention is you want a spray bottle with water in it so that you can mist the oven and also the bread loaves. Okay, here we go. These potatoes go right in. You can mash them a little bit if you want. I highly recommend a stand mixer for this recipe. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this all the way right down to doing it by hand, but of course the mixer makes it much easier. At first I'm going to use the paddle attachment. I'm putting this on a low speed right now. And the paddle attachment is going on here because that's going to push the potatoes up against the wall of your bowl and it will mash them for you. Low speed, 2 minutes. I'll see you in 2 minutes. This is 2 minutes exactly, and you can see how different this is. All of a sudden, this becomes smooth and it's not clumped up anymore. So this is perfect. At this point, I'm going to start introducing the liquid. I'm going to keep this on low speed and put the olive oil and potato water into the bowl. As soon as this is poured in, it looks like everything's cohesive. You can start adding this flour. I should say the flour mixture. Start on slow. At this point, you can see this is clumpy. It looks more like a pie crust than anything. And this is what you can expect to see. Once your flour mixture is in the bowl, you can see everything comes together rather quickly. This has only been running for about 10 seconds. And what you want to do now is switch over to your dough hook. Now I'm going to put this up to medium speed. Let it go for exactly 11 minutes. It will transform from this into a beautiful dough that you can work with. I'll see you in 11 minutes. It's sticking to the sides. Let me turn this off. Sticking to the sides, and it's pooling at the bottom. And that pool down here is what you want to see. What I'm going to do is wet my fingers, take this off, and yeah, see it's sticking to me. So it needs a little more flour. You know, when you work with, this is potato, so you don't know how fresh or stale your potatoes are when you start. And you're working with flour, which is also a variable because flour changes with your weather and climate. So you have to give dough a pass on being difficult. It's not difficult. You just have to know how to read it. So come on in, I'll show you. This is sticking to me, but it's not terrible. So I'm going to give this another, I'm going to say 1 tablespoon of flour, and we'll see how that changes. That may be all I need. It's just a little tacky. I'm going to take this out and put it on the bench at this point. I could add a little more to this, but I think this is a good lesson. When you use flour for your bench, all that you want to do is just use the least amount that you can. I know I'm going to need more than that, so I'm taking a little scoop. I'm putting it off to the side so that I don't keep dipping my dirty hand back in my beautiful flour. Let me get rid of this. And water is your friend here. If you work with a wet hand and a bowl and a wet dough, I should say, nothing sticks to you. It's amazing. You can see how quickly this cleans the bowl. So there's not much to be done here. And do not clean this bowl. This dough is going right back in, and it's going to rise in that bowl, even though we haven't done anything to it. Okay, let me get another little bit of water. Okay, just by the way it's sticking here, I am going to add a little more flour. Do another knead. And use the flour that's here because there really is very little. You see already it's not sticking to me. My hand is almost completely dry and it's not sticking anymore. So you really don't need much. At this point, the more flour you add, it's going to go into your beautiful bread, and you want to keep it as light as possible. Nobody wants to eat a brick of bread. You just want a nice, fluffy, beautiful loaf. These bench scrapers, these little plastic things, they're under $2, and it's the best bargain in baking. The way they clean a bowl and the surface is just amazing. Now you see, this isn't sticking to me at all. I'm not pushing down hard. I'm just kind of pushing it around. But it's not sticking to the bench. It's not sticking to my hands. I could make it stick, but you don't want to go there. You just want to leave it as is because this will change just as it sits in the bowl. So I'm putting this in right now and just put a lid on this. There's my lid. I'll check it in 20 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes depending on your room temperature, but this will not double in size. You'll see it'll be puffy looking and just kind of puffy and delightful. And that's when we shape it, and we'll get to that in, I'm gonna give it 20 minutes, I'll be back. Before I show you the bread dough, I wanted to show you the setup. I've actually done this video, I think this is the 4th time, and the reason is I wanted to get this so that you can have this beautiful rustic bread and that it would be as easy as possible. So here's your setup. I have a rimless cookie sheet. If you have a sheet pan where you have a lip all the way around, then you might want to flip it over and bake on the opposite side. Now what you can do here is I'm going to put the bread on this parchment paper and let it rise on this, and then take this, slip it out. This is what goes onto my baking stone. If you don't have a baking stone, you can just cook it right on your sheet, but it'll be a little different. It'll be fine. It'll be beautiful. So here is the dough. As you can see, it's not doubled, but it is light and moist and puffy. Sprinkle a little flour. Very little flour. As you can see, the stone is still visible through my flour. And there's my very clean bowl. These things are amazing, I'm telling you. Okay, let me get rid of this. That's nice. I don't want to smash this down. I want to keep these bubbles. So I'll cut this in half. You can weigh this out if you like. I'm not going to bother today. I'm just going to create a rectangle. And then stretch it and bring it towards you, and then pinch, pinch, pinch. Stretch, pull it towards you. And then on this last roll, this is going to be your presentation side. So I'm going to flour this. If you want a torpedo shape, all that you need to do is just pinch the ends like that and just rock it back and forth. That will give you your torpedo. Now remember, this can't be more than 16 inches and it's 15 and a half. I'm just going to gently place this here. And all these little craggy bits, I like that. You can get it smoother if you like, but I want to show you another way to make this bread. This is what I like to do. Again, we're flouring, flour hands, flour top. Gently, I'm using the heel of my hand, but very gently. Pull it up, bring it back. And then again, now this last roll, leave this lip exposed, just like that. Dust it, and then flip. And what will happen is this whole lip will just kind of blow up, and I'm going to pinch it down here. That's a little too lippy. This will be much more decorative because this is going to pull away from the bread. And I'm not going to score this. I'll score this loaf, but not this one. Okay. So there's no flipping, there's nothing to do other than you want to cover this just so that a breeze doesn't come and start a crust on this. The way to do that is there's a few different things. You can take a tea towel, make sure that this is all very dry. In fact, let me just put a little more flour on here. Okay, you can use any towel that's clean, but you don't want to use a towel with a nap, like a terry cloth towel would be bad. So let me just get a towel, I'll drape this over, and this is another 20-minute rise. In 20 minutes, this is ready to go into the oven. This is a flour sack towel. That's the actual name of it. I'm just going to drape this over. Make sure these are tucked in and covered. And I'll put this where it's clean this mess up. In 20 minutes, I'll come back to throw them into the oven. I think it's time. Let's see how these look. The way that you can tell that your bread is ready to go into the oven is that when you poke into it, just gently, it will spring back, but not all the way, and it comes back slowly. If you put your finger in and it does nothing, it's overproofed. And if it springs right back, it's not ready yet. And it feels like a marshmallow. Ooh, just feels so good. So I'm going to slash this one. You want to get a razor, a knife, a sharp knife is fine. A serrated knife is great. And I think I'll just go sideways. Depending on how wet your dough is will depend on how easily that slashes. Let me do this one. I want to get that lip, and I want to really exaggerate that. So I'm using what I already had. So this is going right in. Now, I'm going to spray the oven, and when these are already in the oven, I'm going to spray them. If you're not using parchment paper or something where this will slip off, do not spray these on your pan because they won't come off. They'll just kind of flip over. We're going over to spray the oven first. I'm spraying the stone and the walls. So I'm just going to put some water on these breads and close this up. This is going to bake for 45 to 50 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer. I'll see you when they come out of the oven. It smells so good. Let's just tap it, make sure it sounds hollow, and it does. So that's good to go. Let me get the next loaf. Here's loaf number 2. I just think these are so beautiful. And unfortunately, you can't cut them yet. They're still baking. When you first take bread out, if you cut it when it's still hot, it will squeeze down to be like a sponge would squeeze down, but it doesn't come back up. It's too wet. You have to let the crumb set. I'll see you in 20 minutes. We'll cut this open. I got my butter ready. This is a happy moment. I get to cut the bread open. When you cut bread, you can put the cut side down on your board and let it stay there for one day. And that will keep it from staling. So here's the crumb on this. You can see it's very elastic, very soft. It's moist, and that's because of those starches having obtained that water, absorbed it, I should say, and they retain it. This bread is, it smells a little potatoy, but I think if you didn't know that there were potatoes in here, you wouldn't really necessarily think that there was. And what I mean by that is it's very neutral tasting. It's great for sandwiches or just to put on your table. Another reason to make this bread is the aroma of bread baking in your kitchen. There's just nothing else like it. I think if they made this into a perfume, I'd have to wear a little bit of it. That is really good. It just doesn't get better than homemade bread. You can't buy this stuff. And even if you mess it up, bread is very forgiving. It's always very delicious. I hope you make this. Let me know if you do. Let me know what you think of it. Make it, enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.